Welcome back to Break Hard Orchard. It is the afternoon and we are working on putting together another post and beam truss to install right here on this SIPS panel. We've already gone ahead and drilled and installed the base plate. My lovely assistant is going around and painting the hardware, the fastening hardware that we're using to keep the posts and beams together, because we started to see a little bit of rust on some of it and decided we had to get up in there and do something about that. I'm getting ready to cut another one of the post bases so that we can fit it into the metal post base and attach it to the SIPS panel. Hold this up for me. 3-inch screws here.
Top looks further away.
I'm gonna bring it in. It's nice. And that is straight up and down. The sun came back out and it is hot. Because that means I took too long of a break. Hey Sugar, can you come over here and brace this thing? You just gotta hold it still because it's kind of crooked. And it's, when I push on it, it's moving.
That didn't work. Here, let me get closer.
Right here and push against it. Well, day is slipping away from us, but we've got most of this truss assembled and I think we're going to finish it. I keep hearing rumblings of thunder and lightning, but it looks like we are, well, I can't tell if we're on the good side or if we're in the middle of the storm, but it looks like it's traveling kind of that direction. Of course, there's some dark clouds over on that side too, but sometimes you just got to go with it. What's that? It's very pretty, but it sure is ominous. I'm all turned around. No, he goes the other way. Turn it around.
It's okay.
Yeah, I think it's fine. I'm just turn around. At this point, we were having an issue with the fit. Instead of continuing to manipulate it and try to make it work, I should have pulled it out and trimmed it just a little bit. This is going to come back to bite us. Well, we got the truss assembled. We're pretty beat, so we're gonna go home, come back in the morning and put it up. Once we get it up, because of the limited amount of space here, we think that we're gonna go ahead and build another one right here, exact same spot, lift it up, set it to the side, and then put one of the panels in place. As it stands right now, as wide as that is, as tall as it is, it would be difficult to build it if we had another panel sitting there. So we're gonna head home, power up, come back in the morning, do it again. Good morning. Got a little task I gotta do before we can get started on the home build. It is morning, sun is shining bright, we've had a lot of rain. The water in the pond is looking a little dingy. We've had some intense heat, and that tends to get a little bit of the waterborne algae growing, gives it a kind of a funky brown look. It'll clear up as the weather starts to cool, but with all the rain it stirs up some debris. Got a nice bass, I don't know if it shows on camera, but got a nice bass swimming by right there. Got to go ahead and clear that debris out so this thing, so the overflow doesn't end up getting clogged with the next big rain. Well, that went pretty smooth. It's amazing that what was blocking that water was just a little lattice work of twigs about that big, pine needles, slime, and a couple pieces of tree bark. But the water cap is sitting about that high above the pipe. So that's a lot of water going down there right now. And I don't know if it was starting to push water out over the overflow, but it's possible. I'll check that out as we go, but that's just a normal thing we got to do around here. Someday I'll build a dock so I can just walk out here, bend down, and pull the stuff out without getting in the boat. We are back on the build site now, and we have beautiful weather for about 5 hours forecast here. It's still morning, but in the afternoon we're supposed to get a couple of thunderstorms. We got a truss fully assembled yesterday. We are getting ready to put it up on this post and the post in the back there. Got some prep work. It's going to take us probably an hour. And we're going to stand it up, go back over all the bolts, make sure everything's tightened, adjust everything, and then lift it into place. It's going to be hot as a pepper today. There's no question about it. It's moist, it's funky. We're just going to do it. See the happy face? That's probably the last time I'm going to see a happy face, because once we get going, it's going to be hot and sweaty and grimy and dirty. Yesterday, we managed to spill a quart of black paint on the floor.
We being me.
Yes, we being you. But we got most of it up. It's doesn't look like it's going to be a big deal. It's not going to show. So we'll go back over it with some additional cleaning materials, cleaning equipment. When you're building something, these things are going to happen. You just got to take it in stride. We got it up right, but we ran into a little problem. And here's the problem. This piece, this cross member, that cross member right there, was a little bit too long. You can see I had multiple pencil marks on there, but I actually cut on the one that I wanted to. Unfortunately, when we stuck it in there, we had to fight with it a little bit to get it in there. And it pushed this piece over in that direction, which lifted the rafter up. Now I thought once we got it stood up, we could loosen the bolts and everything would settle the way it needed to be and we'd be good to go. That is not the case. It was lifting it up so that there was a gap on that end and a gap on that end. So I went ahead and took it out, adjusted this piece the way it needs to be, and we're gonna make a slight reduction in the length on this cross member. It's just one of those things that you've got to work through. Everything has to be precise. I should have cut it before standing it up. Before I even put it together, I probably should have just gone ahead and made it a little shorter. Because we're cutting toward the hole, I'm just taking a tiny bit off. I don't think it actually requires much to get it to where it needs to be, but it does require a little bit of a reduction. Now, like I said, I didn't take off much, but I think it'll be enough. We've got everything put back together. We've got it set up. We haven't lifted it up yet to see if it's balanced properly. As soon as we make sure it's balanced properly, we're going to go ahead and lift it up and try to put it into place. That's it.
After a lengthy struggle to find the proper balance point, we've got everything the way we need it. We've applied our SIP seal, and it's time to install the post and beam truss. My excavator is 15 years old. I have had the hydraulic cylinders rebuilt, but they still relax a little bit, and the bucket starts to come down. In this situation, the tooth of the bucket is putting pressure at the top of the truss, and that's causing the bottom of the truss to move. I keep getting back in the cab and lifting it up a little bit just to get a couple inches of space to work with, but there really isn't enough space to get it situated so that I can get the straps off. The first set of straps come off relatively easily, but the second strap has no play. Eventually, I felt that I had no choice but to cut the strap.
Well, as always, it turns into a little bit of a goat rodeo as you're going through it. I don't know if the battery was still active, but I made an executive decision and went ahead and cut one of the straps because I just could not get it off of there. There just wasn't enough play. Now, I can't really complain too much. We have managed to use the excavator instead of having to rent a crane or a telehandler to get everything up here. So far that's been great. We've only got one more left to go. That one's going to go right here. We've got a panel to put in. What we're going to do now is I'm going to shore this up a little bit better. I'm going to put a couple more supports in there. We have a hurricane working up the East Coast right now. Don't expect to get much more than 10 or 15 mile an hour winds up here, if that. But I don't want to take any chances. I'm going to make sure it's ready to stand and we can handle it. As far as the walls go, I'm not concerned about those at all. There's very little surface area to these front walls, and all the other walls have withstood 25 mile an hour winds already and been just fine. Well, here we go. That is 5 out of 6 trusses built and installed. Can't complain about that. If you could see somebody think right now, you'd be able to see my wife thinking about her kitchen, because that's where she's standing. I think she's trying to figure out where I'm going to put the vent hood.
No, I know where you're putting that. Lights, like how to hang the lights in here.
We're going to break for lunch, come back, start working on another one of these trusses. Well, yesterday we went and picked up some more Douglas fir. I had to order this. Have it sent to my local lumber yard. Came out of the same sawmill that we bought ours from in North Carolina. It's rough cut. It's a little extra rough looking. My wife wants me to smooth it down some. So once again, I'm going to use this DeWalt 20 volt planer. This thing works like a dream. I shouldn't have any trouble taking this down. You want me to put a camphor on the corners?
What?
You want me to take the corners down?
Take the what down?
Corners down.
Yeah.
All right.
I know, we have to do it on all, like, we didn't do any of that on the beams that we put up, but...
Yeah, we can do that. Now I'm going really light. I've only got it on the first setting here. If I wanted to, I could dial it up and take a much deeper bite, but I just want to take off just enough to put a little bit of smoothness to it. We still want to have that rough look. Now, I'm not sure how I made the mistake, but one of the reasons we had to buy some extra wood was because instead of cutting 3 feet 6 inches on one of these, I cut 36 inches. That's not the same thing. That was not the same thing, and that was an expensive mistake. But this is 3 feet 6 inches, tip to tip. Back up for a second and look at it from the side and see if there's, like over here, see if there's any gaps.
That one?
Remember, there's a camfer on the edge, so there's going to be a slight.
No, it looks really good.
All right.
On that one. Let's go.
Yep.
Oh, that's out.
Hold on. Curved and it came out the side.
Looks so good.
Okay. Now these structural screws are pretty incredible. That structural screw, that 3/8 structural screw, replaces a 5/8 inch lag bolt. So does a heck of a job for bonding two pieces of wood together. Had the camera pointed to the ground the whole time, but as you can see, we got these knee braces up. They look pretty darn good, I think. I'm very happy with the way this truss went in, all things considered. Right there. So let's talk about mistakes that we make up here. I made some. I've definitely made some. But one that I made, and I mentioned it a little bit earlier, was that instead of cutting one of the knee braces 3 feet 6 inches, I cut it 36 inches. Not the same thing. So, since we needed to put a brace on this thing, we went ahead and installed it anyway, and now we are going to fix that. Whoa. Here we go. So that tightens up some of the bracing that we got around here. Fixes some of the problems that I had. Everything's looking good. Gotta say, I am very pleased with the way this is turning out. And keep in mind, I've never done anything like this before. We've renovated a couple of houses. I've taken a house down to bare bones, put new drywall on it, built a couple of closets, a few things like that. kitchen floors. I've never done anything like this. So I am real happy about the way this turned out. This looks great. Can't wait to get a roof on this place. Got 2 more panels and 1 more truss to build. We're gonna pull the wood up here for the truss. I'm gonna be up on the farm tomorrow working unless I'm rained out. But at the very least, we're gonna pull the wood up here. As we have been building, there are little joys you get when you're building something like this with a SIPS panel house. One of the joys you get is making piles of SIPS panels disappear. That's progress. When we started, we had nothing but stacks of SIPS panels in the back. Now we've got 2 stacks in the back that are roof panels and a whole bunch of stacks over there that are roof panels. This was a big stack of 24-foot beams. Right now, I have 1 6x12 and 1 6x10 24-foot beams. We're gonna take those up there right now and get ready to build our next truss. That is progress.
Where's your glasses?
My glasses are so dirty, I had to get rid of them. We've done everything up here that we can do today. We've got about an hour of daylight left. We're gonna go home, charge ourselves back up, and come back next week. Thanks for watching. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Come on back and check us out again at Breakheart Orchard.
Good night.
Well, we got the truss assembled. We are beat and tired. We're beat and tired.